my preliminary calcs show that I'll have enough from this, but I'm actually going to do the final calculations tomorrow before I start cutting stuff. I'm totally going to be fine with my 8 fat quarters to do all of it. No problem. Yeah, no. Forgot to see I went through a few designs on this skirt, but ultimately I am so chuffed with how it came together, and I hope you enjoy watching the process. Alright, for the skirt panel pattern, I'm following Whatsername Cosplay. Yeah, Whatsername Cosplay. She's got a blog of Anne's costume, but she did like the full vinyl, more stage accurate. But she's got a lot of close-up shots, goes through a process. She's got a TikTok as well on how she patterned the skirt, which I followed. It's essentially taking your waist. You don't want you to be too tight on that. There's not going to be stretch in it, so give it a little ease. Divide that by 8, add your seam allowance, that's your top. Multiply that by 3, and that's your bottom. Include your seam allowance and whatnot. And then obviously your length. Trapezoid, done. Pretty straightforward. But I'm undecided if I want to do a mock-up. I think the bottom's wide enough. I don't know if I should go wider with it or not. But also, like, I can't... How do you do a mock-up? I don't want to cut my soft and stable down to this size yet and just like pin it together and put it out, because when you quilt soft and stable, or really any quilt, you often get shrinkage. So I was going to make my quilt top panels bigger than my pattern, just by a little bit, and then quilt it onto the soft and stable, and then cut it down to exactly this size after it's quilted. But yeah, how do I make sure it's going to look good before I go through all the effort of doing all of these panels? If I then put it together and go, oh my god, my bottom really needs to be a bit wider to really get that curve. Yeah, I don't know if trying to make like a tiny mock-up version would work, you know, like a quarter size or whatever would be worthwhile. I don't know. One day down. So many to go. Yesterday evening, day 1 evening, I was trying to figure out how much fabric I would need and if my 8 fat quarters were going to be enough. At first I thought I had it. I was wrong. But we'll get there. To start, I was going to draw squares onto here to figure out what size squares I needed, what the placement would look like, all that jazz. But the more I looked at this trapezoid, I just wasn't sure it was going to give me the shape I wanted. So I got onto Inkscape, drew to scale, printed it much smaller. I taped and stapled the seams together, and at first it looks okay. I feel like it's a little tall for the look, particularly when this waist actually gets rounder. So here's a cup that it just about fits. So once the top is actually fairly tight, it doesn't have enough. Oops, I don't know. So my first design, I think, is a no. I think it looks too tall, so I wanted to go shorter. So I re-mocked it up, changed my square sizing. These two are the same length. They're each like 15.375. This one is fatter than this one. So this one has the same bottom width as this one, which is 15.5 down on the bottom. This one's 18 across the bottom, so a bit fatter. And I like the look of this one just looking at it here, it's obviously the fullest. I do worry about it being too full. But this one, like, you don't think you can see it from that far away, but the ends are actually touching the cup. It's sitting so far down. I have no way of knowing how the soft and stable is gonna react, how it's gonna hold up as far as sticking out more. And then if we look at the smaller one, yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried about which makes the most sense to use. I do think the tall one's out. I think I want to go shorter. And I did hold up a ruler and look at lengths again, and I think I'm happy with closer to 15 inches rather than the 17. I know, big difference that I had drawn out originally. And these square shapes fit a bit better as well with my fabric. But yeah, I'm not sure if this one or this one is going to work. Conveniently though, even with the wider base, I think I can get away with using the exact same number of squares and size squares on these two. So it would just be the amount of black and the amount of lining that would change. For now, I'm going to draw out my fabric requirements for both of these and see what I come up with. So last night I started trying to figure out how much fabric I would need. The first go round I stupidly forgot seam allowance. I was like, got plenty. I'm totally going to be fine with my 8 fat quarters to do all of it. No problem. Yeah, no. Forgot seam allowance. With seam allowance, it's not going to work. I can get the skirt out of it, sure, but I won't have any for the top, and I need them for the top as well. So I do think I'm going to have to add a few greens, which I do have a couple, actually. I think these 2 greens would work pretty well. This one's just a batik. And this one, the color looks light here, but this is a gradient, so there is a darker chunk. I think that is a reasonable addition to these, but these are still going to have to be my main lining. Let's go ahead and verify exactly how many squares I'm going to need. For both of these, the big squares are 3 inches, so 3.5 inches cut. Don't forget your seam allowance. And there's 6 on each panel, so we need 48 of the big 3-inch squares. For the small squares, they're 1.5 inch. For those, I need 13 on each panel. There's 8, 104 of the 1.5 just for the skirt.
A lot of boring math later.
I really don't know if I've got any other big greens. Let's see. My green fat quarters are not very promising. Like, this is a good green. I don't really like it. It's all kind of St. Patrick's-y. Too all over the place. Too yellow. But this one could work. And this is definitely too light. This one I have not very much of. It could work. I like this one. I have no idea where it came from. Why do I have this? I honestly have no idea where this came from. But I don't know if I want to add in that pop, even though it's stars, which seems fitting. This is too dark. I do really like this one, but it's got gold. But it's gold dots, and I'm doing the silver, so that seems unwise. So I think these are really the only ones I can add, which are not enough. I don't really like that one either. I think I'm going green shopping. Back from Joann's with 2 greens. I think they will go quite well. Maybe a smidge on the dark side, but that's okay. Way more fabric than I wanted, so I had to get 2 yards of them. They're kind of blendery greens, so I think they'll be useful in the future anyway. My plan is to first cut out the lining pieces for the skirts and then start piecing stuff together. Let's go. My shirt feels very appropriate today. It's only noon, day 2, and I have so much done already. My mock-up fits, I've got all my pattern pieces ready to go, I've got my layout ready to go. I recut my skirt panel and drew on all of the squares, so that's ready to go. I cut it out an extra 3/4 on all sides, so I'll use this to cut out my lining fabric first, quilt it, and then I will cut it down to the correct size. It's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. Okay, my final greens are washing, and then it's time to start cutting. I'm gonna cut the linings first. 6 will come from the original fat quarter bundle. 2 will come from the 2 greens I just bought. And then I'll start cutting the fat quarter bundle down, maximize what I can get out of that, and go from there. Oh boy, that took well over an hour to do 48 squares. Now I need to start cutting the 1.5 inch squares, which I'm going to use basically all these leftover triangles to start. But I'm also hoping like this is the last of the fabric of those 6 fat quarters. Then there's still 2 fat quarters, and yeah, there's still pieces here and there. So then the question is, do I need to keep any of this for the bracers? I think that's the only other green bit I've got. And they're small, so I mean, it wouldn't take a lot. So maybe I won't worry about it. Trying to save any for the bracers. This is just going to be as much as I can get out of them for 1.5s. And then from there, I will figure out how many I can get out of these. Whatever's left, I need to break up amongst the others. And if my math is right, I need 194 1.5 inch squares. 5:30, day 2. Where does the time go? I did get all of my green squares done. So I've got them laid out in the big ones in stacks of 6, all randomized. And so that's for the bottom of each skirt panel. So I got 8 stacks there. I've got a bundle of 13 little ones. And conveniently I had 13 colors. So one of each color is going on each skirt panel. So I got those all bundled up, ready to go. And then I got my stack for the bodice. So my plan is to start with the bottom 2 big square rows. And next I'm going to cut my black into 1 5/8 strips. I need 5 strips at that size to cover the 4 vertical and 3 in between spaces. Then have to start playing with the studs, essentially, the ones that are going to be those like cornerstone squares, which I have no idea how that's going to go. Should be interesting. I'm tired. Maybe I should stop before I cut myself. This was not done sewing. Oh goodness, it's quite late. It's like 1:30. I've worked about 4 hours tonight. But just doing a quick handheld, show some progress. I have all of my strips here. Let's see if I can line it up. The top one, the bottom one, and then I've got all the strips that go in between the greens. Which I probably should have put down first so that I could cover those extra dots. Something like that. Oh, that looks so cool. Alright, I need to call it a night.
Much later.
Now that the 8 panels for the bottom part of the skirt are done, I gotta do the top. So, let's do a little math. I still need to cut out all the rest. Circles. 12 times 8. I should know 12 by 8. That's 96. So, I need 96 of those. So, I need to cut polka dots with the dot in the center of 1 by 1 inch squares. So, basically, what I'm doing is put my 1/2 inch line from this ruler down the middle of the silver, and then I'm gonna lose a stripe of polka dots. But now I need to make this 1 inch wide. I'm probably gonna lose every other one. The hole for my ruler is right at the center of the one. So I can just stick my dot right in the middle of it. 1. Look at how tiny that is. Oh my god. This is gonna take forever. What? Oh dear. Okay. We'll come back once I have a lot more done. I actually ended up with 112. It only took me, like, basing on how much I've watched of Pride and Prejudice, I don't know, 45 minutes maybe less. So, dots going up. The bars in between will be cut at 1 inch by 1.2 inches. Better double check. These are 1.5, so it needs to be cut at 1 by 2 inch. Not counting the edge ones because they'll be funky sizes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 19. That one I can't do in my head. 152. So I'm cutting 8 strips, 1 inch wide, and then I'll cut them into the 2 inch pieces. And that should cover it. 1, 2, 3, 8. I can stack them up on top of each other and just do. This is gonna go so much faster than the fussy cutting dots. Boom. That's 8 times 20. I should be able to do that math. 160, and I needed 152. That was so fast. No, now I don't even know. I thought that was gonna take forever. Yeah, that's it really as far as what needs to be cut out. There'll be these edges too, and this top bar, but I'll get to those later. So I need to figure out how I want to put this together. Obviously in strips, the same way I've done, but then I also need to figure out how I'm going to reorganize these. I want to, randomize, but purposely, because actual randomizing is hard. 72 squares and rectangles attached. Now I just have to snip them all and iron them all. It took me 20 minutes just to do all the sewing. I really don't want to know how long it's going to take to snip and iron them all. And then connect another round and another round and another round. Well, I made some great progress yesterday. I've got all of my strips of green and all of the little row strips as well done. And now all I have left to do is add the final black edges to both of those. So I've got a bunch of little strips to add the very outside pieces to. I'm really hopeful today that I can get this all put together and actually complete my skirt panels today. That's the goal. Let's see if we can do it. It will fit, which is good. And I think I've even got enough if I want to end up using Soft and Stable for the bodice. I'm still undecided on that. And I still have the front of the bodice to make. But I really want something done because I have less than 3 weeks, like 2.5 weekends at this point. And yeah, I want something done so I can feel like I have something done because, it's creeping up. So I'm going to use basting adhesive. Good thing with Soft and Stable, it is ironable, so no problem there. Mostly have the iron out for the tops because they kind of scrunch up a bit. So I'm going to start with number 4. And I'm going to give it a good iron. To make sure my seams are all laid flat. All right, to quilt this, I'm using, so I've got these here, which are Metler Silk Finish Cotton. So I've got black and green. Green is in the bobbin to be in the lining, and black will be on top. So my goal is to not be in the ditch, but just onto the black side. Just barely onto the black side.
One eternity later.
That took forever. I did ultimately test the lock stitch so that I could stop burying the threads. So there's like teensy weensy little bits poking up, but honestly, no one's gonna see that close. And it took forever as is. I've almost watched all of Firefly. That's pretty exciting. I'm gonna get these trimmed, and then I'm so scared that it's not gonna work. Is it gonna look like this when I actually put it together? Have I put all this work into it for it to turn into just a flat thing? I don't know. I'm very scared. What if it all fails? I don't want to put in any more like hardcore work without testing this. So I think I'm gonna use like safety pins maybe and pin it together, use the clips and clip it together just to see if it's gonna work at all. My room is so not set up for this, but oh my god, it looks so cute. So not enough room. Look at it. Okay, I'm so happy. Oh, it looks so cool. Okay, so next step is binding all the bottoms and then sewing it together, and I'll make sure everything fits before I bind the inside. Yeah, and I guess I need a waistband or something, and I need a zipper. And so I have only put on the first one at this point, and I just realized it's been 4 hours that I've been working on this. So this morning I made the skirt slightly smaller, brought in the top seam. That took 15 minutes, maybe 20, 30 for being generous. The rest of it has been trying to figure out this binding. 4 hours that I've been working on this today. I thought I'd be done with the skirt almost entirely by now. My Don't Panic from Legit Kits, that's from the block of the month. Check out my series on the playlist of that. Oh god, it's not working. I'm panicking. Not about Legit Kits, well, maybe a little bit about that one, but more this. Am I gonna get this done in 2 weeks? It is not looking promising. All right, I got a zipper in. The bottom is not the prettiest, but I'm done futzing with it. So all I have left is to do the top of the waistband. And then I'm done with the skirt. To wrap it up, I needed to add the binding to the top of the waistband, which I finished by hand, same as I would any quilt. Lily felt the need to help me, or bury herself in the blankets next to me. Is she helping or desperate for attention? I'm not sure. Now let's take a look at the final reveal, accompanied by a bit of greensleeves. While greensleeves is often associated with Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, the first historical record of the song actually did not come till after Henry's death. So it's a cute story, at least. All right, let's talk skirt. She turned out so good, and I am so happy with her. I love how much it flares out. I love that the different colors and the different fabrics still give it that like holographic shiny look without obviously being holographic. Like, it's pretty cool. People from a distance were constantly mistaking it for being the real deal. Didn't realize it was quilted, didn't realize it was fabric, because it still gives that same vibe, which is super cool. Yeah, when I first got the skirt finished, I was squealing all over the house. It was just, it just turned out so good. There's very little I would change on this. Very, very little. In fact, I'm not sure there's anything I would. If I were taking this cosplay to a competition, which I do hope to do at some point. I'm looking, I'm trying to find something. If you know something Southern California that you think it'd be good for that doesn't involve a skit, because that's not happening. If it's just a pose and craftsmanship type of competition, let me know. Yeah, if I were to put it into a competition, the things I would change, honestly, on the skirt, nothing. Two things, maybe two things. I might add a hook and eye. That somebody at Scarborough noted they thought it was falling down when we were standing in line. I don't think I ever actually had that problem. It always seemed to be just fine, but there is a gap at the very tippy top, just where the binding is, and the zipper doesn't go all the way to the tippy top. So if I added a hook and eye there, it'd be a little more secure. And there's another bit with the back. I don't know if it's doing it right now, but this side wants to push it, yeah, to the left. So it's not, the zipper's cockeyed. And I think some of that is just from ironing / not ironing, how it's stored. One of them's wanting to push more flat than the other. So it's, and that's happening elsewhere too, but it's very obvious with the zipper. So I don't know the best way to try to deal with that. I was watching, since I have finished this and I'm now working on the video, another video on a Anne Boleyn cosplay came out by Renee Cosplay. I'll link that below. And she did the full vinyl stage accurate type of one. But she had some photos in her video that I hadn't seen before of like up the skirt. And it showed a hoop in the skirt, and she did a hoop in her skirt, which I never even considered. But a hoop would obviously keep the panels all the same size without having some that want to spread out more than others. I do like how it currently is in the sense that I can sit down in it, the back just poofs out. You can sit very easily. When I take it off, it's totally flat, obviously very nice. So I don't know if I want a hoop in it, but if there was maybe a way to do like a detachable hoop, something that could just help keep these perfect. Not that they need to be perfect all the time. Yeah, that's probably it that I might potentially want to change if I were doing a competition. I think the binding on the waist came out really good. The binding on the bottom came out really good. I don't know what else there could be. So incredibly pleased with the skirt. And one more important detail that I would probably add if I were taking this whole thing to a competition is the mic loop for the fair. I didn't really feel the need to put a mic loop on here, carry a mic. So that would be one piece I would probably add as well if I were taking to a competition. You got to see a sneak peek of Anne all put together, but to see it in more detail, like and subscribe so you can see the next video. See you next time.